Hello everybody and welcome back to another experiment video here on Pengy FM. Today we're going to be continuing looking into what would happen if Celtic and Rangers were put into the English Premier League. So, where we left off, there was already been one video. Of course, currently Celtic have essentially established themselves as a Premier League side. They initially got relegated in that first season before immediately getting back into the Premier League and then sort of stabilizing on the lower end of the Premier League, but they've now spent 3 consecutive seasons in the league without actually going down. Whereas Rangers, if we take a look at them, have had a little bit of a tougher time, well and truly becoming a bit of a yo-yo club. They survived that first season looking pretty good. I think actually 15th might be the highest placement. Yeah, so both of them have achieved 15th once. And then they really just yo-yoed for a few years, made the playoffs this past season, but weren't quite able to get back in. So things are a little bit rough for Rangers. We'll see if they're able to turn it around. Today, we only went 5 years into the future in the last video, but we're going to speed things up now. I mean, the individual seasons don't matter quite as much as the macro picture these days. So basically, the game plan is that we're going to do 2 major time jumps. We're going to jump 20 more years into the future for a total of 25 years into the future. And then after that, we're going to be jumping 25 years further. So really just seeing over the longer stretch of time, which team will be able to make themselves more of a driving force in English football. If you have any predictions, let me know in the comments below. And of course, if you have any suggestions for additional experiment videos, let me know as well. I'm really enjoying this little foray into experiment videos, especially because I've got so much on my plate with moving right now. It's kind of nice to just have the ability to just let it simulate for a while I do other stuff and then come back and still be able to put out some content. I think that's really, really cool for me personally right this second. But as for predictions, you know what I'm going to say? I mean, I think obviously the main take is going to be that Celtic is going to do better. They have more money, especially now. They've been in the Premier League for longer. But, you know, Rangers might be able to turn it around. At the end of the day, I'd love to see Rangers establish themselves as a Premier League team, but I don't think they're going to be able to eclipse Celtic. I'm wondering if Celtic can use the money they have to climb up the Premier League and really start challenging for those European spots. Maybe even make it back into Champions League one more time in their history. In the meantime, I will see you guys in 20 years. It's taken me about 8 hours, but here we are. We are 25 years into the future. The year is 2045, and I have absolutely no idea what the world of English football is going to look like right now. So, let's actually do this a little differently. Let's start in League 2. I'm expecting to not see anything until the championship, but just in case, not seeing anything particularly interesting so far. No big boys falling all the way down. If we go up to League 1, alright, I was a little concerned that we might run into somebody in League 1, but it doesn't appear that we have. Nothing really of note here either. So if we jump into Championship, I really hope that we're not going to see either of our teams here. But if we do, Rangers. Oh, they're still in the Championship. Have they yo-yoed? A little. Oh, alright. So, oh my god, they've only had 3 seasons in the Prem. Oh, it's so bad. They haven't even won the championship. So they got promoted in 2026, 3rd place. Immediately got relegated in last place. A few more seasons, they get promoted again via the playoffs. They finish 18th. I'm wondering, the 2033-2034 season, I'm wondering, hold on. I'm wondering, in this season, if we go to 2023, was it this one? Yeah. Oh, they were close. They were close. In the meantime, we are seeing Celtic down here. We'll check them in a second, but really a disappointing result for Rangers overall. Oh man, I mean, I guess we'll check the schedule. We'll filter out the Premiership and the Championship, and let's just scroll through. Anything of note? Any titles? It's not really looking like it, is it? Nothing oh my god, this is so bad. I will say, like, Rangers are the team that you'd expect to be the weaker of the two, but this is so much worse than I thought it would be. It's a little sad, isn't it? Nothing of note. 25 years of history, and Rangers have struggled. It's been really bad for them. If we have a look at their records, I guess, like what are they struggling on, like, average attendance? Yeah. Oh, it's going down. It's slowly but surely going down. Just 32,000 in 2020 and 2044, 2045, compared to close to 50 at the start of the save. Oh, man. It's tough to be a Rangers fan when you have to play in England. Very, very disappointing. That's just really sad. I'm curious about, like, their biggest signings, right? So, highest attendance, 118,000 people. That's pretty... Oh, that's from 1939. Okay. I was gonna say, that's insane. That kind of an attendance in the first half of the 20th century? I mean, that's a real thing that happened. I was not aware of that. If we look at transfers, right? So, the highest transfer... It's looking like highest transfer fee paid. 36 million for Tyler Roberts coming in from Crystal Palace. Other than that, I mean, have they been able to make money? I mean, it looks like they're making really good money off of selling. I mean, Uriel Uribe, was he from their own youth? No, they signed him. Oh, wow, so this guy was a bit of a nomad. Ends up signing for Rangers for 18.5 million. They move him on to Bayern for a huge profit margin. Interesting. So this is, I mean, he's not really a player that's performed super well. He doesn't even look that good. I mean, I guess for a center back, he is very, very good. He's got all the key, the key attributes he needs, but still just like 13s. I mean, he's got really good physicals, but it seems like he's a little bit overvalued. Overall, I mean, financially, they seem to be doing fine. It says that they're secure. Oh, it's just so sad. I am personally more partial to Rangers. I don't know if I mentioned that in one of the earlier portions. When I was growing up, my best friend when I was a child was a Scottish lad from Glasgow who was a Rangers fan, and Rangers share the same colors as FM21, which is the club that I support. So I've always been a little more partial to Rangers, but let's see how Celtic have done. Wow! Alright, I thought they would establish themselves in the Prem. And that's exactly what they've done. They have not been relegated a single time since that very first season. So Celtic, they're no longer rich. That is something that's worth noting. They actually had their finances gold. Like, it said rich and it was in gold, which is something I'm not really familiar with, but I believe that's above, like, normal rich. They were exceptionally rich for a while. Near the beginning of the save, they were getting parachute payments. They got into the Champions League group stage in that first season, so they were doing really well for themselves initially. They have dropped off a little bit as far as financials go, but they've done a really good job. They haven't really cracked the top half very much. We've got 10th place here in the 2029-2030 season. More recently, again finishing 10th in 2041-2042, and then again in 43-44, and finally getting a top 10, like a well and truly into the top half finish with the 9th place finish of last season. Celtic, slowly, I mean, I don't want to say they're on an upward trajectory since this is very recent, and they really were just kind of barely surviving for over a decade here, but overall, Celtic's done a pretty okay job. I am curious to see... like, let's have a look at their average attendance as well. Let's see if they've done, or if they've struggled at all. Not really. Not really. I mean, you're hosting teams like Man City, you're hosting teams like Liverpool, really big sides, so even if they're not winning titles, they have, a lot of reason to get fans in through the door. They're doing a lot better than Rangers, And that's definitely interesting to note. I saw over on the transfer site some big numbers as well. If you look at the highest transfer fee paid, they're spending every season. They're making a really big signing. I mean, this past season they've only actually signed. Oh, this is this season actually. We're at the very beginning. This is 2 days ago actually. So this could still change, but a lot of money being spent. Are they bringing in a lot? A decent amount. Tomek Thompson's almost $54 million. That is a huge amount. $54 million here for Ali Maguire. This guy looks very good. I mean, he's old now, but like, I mean, he's still, look at those technicals. Let's actually go into the edit. I mean, okay, that looks a lot less impressive now, but the mentals are really, really good. I mean, he's 38 years old, 157 caps for Scotland, 47 goals, not even a striker. I assume he's playing as an inside forward, given that he's right-footed. But really, really interesting. If we look at his career, they moved him on for $70 million to Man U. That is so much money. He even returned. He had a return to Celtic for 1 season before being passed off to Villarreal. Did pretty well for them at the ripe age of 34. Ali Maguire, really good signing, looks like. I mean, that guy, Roberto Fernandez, $64 million to Man City. Is currently at PSG, also getting on in years now, 34. But, I mean, look at this guy's stats as well. I mean, this is just absurd. He's so good as well. You look at this. Played for Man City for 2 seasons, moved on to PSG, and has continued to do exceptionally well. I don't think I simulate the League One. Oh, jeez. Work the Space and Dr. Benji did a 500-year simulation. And the one takeaway I took from that video, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. They're both fantastic creators, but PSG won every single Ligue 1 for 500 years. So I'm not surprised to see them continuing to win here. Lille getting second a couple times. That's kind of interesting. But wild. Let's see if they've managed to make anything happen in the cup competitions. They've actually played in Europa League. I mean, that might just be all the way back here. So if we go back to where we left off, this is a bit of a run. I mean, quarterfinal in both cups. So losing to Norwich in the Carabao Cup, a little unfortunate. Watford in the FA Cup, so not really losing to really big opposition. Not having any particularly difficult matches up until that point either. Win over Everton's good on penalties after a replay. But other than that, another quarterfinal run, losing to Tottenham. I mean, they're definitely a better team. They're definitely a better club. FA Cup semi-final, beating Chelsea, beating Rangers, losing out in the end to Man City in the semi-finals. I mean, they've had a couple deep runs. I feel like it's not outside the realm of possibility that they won a cup competition at some point in these years. Although, as we continued... Oh, they made the final, beating Manchester United. Wow! They did lose out at the end of Tottenham, but I mean, we're seeing more and more progress here. Did they win something? I mean, I feel like they could have. Although we are running out of years now. Another FA Cup semi-final, another Carabao Cup semi-final, or I guess quarterfinal here, losing to Arsenal after beating Liverpool. Fascinating stuff here. I mean, another semi-final. They have to win one eventually, right? Probably not in this update, but we're going to go another 25 years into the future. I'm just packing up boxes while I prepare to move, so I'll leave it simulating for another 10 hours or so. But before we go, I want to see what the Premier League looks like as far as past winners. Any surprises? Arsenal's really made a charge of it recently. Tottenham a few times in here. Bit of a dominant spell from Tottenham. Arsenal, though, 3 times in the last 6. Really, really nice for them. They've had a ton of runner-up positions as well. They really seem to be coming along. How about Europe? Have England done well in Europe? Although this is the only country that I'm actively simulating, so I feel like it's likely that England's won quite a lot when you only simulate them. I think they tend to do a little bit better. And if we see the last 4 of the last 5, I mean, it's almost exclusively England, really. City, Liverpool, Arsenal, PSG, Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Arsenal, City. Atletico's in there once. Arsenal, Chelsea, Chelsea. Ever since 2032, it's really just been the UK with a couple of or England rather, with a couple of occasional upsets, I guess. But wow. So neither team doing exceptionally well, but Celtic definitely solidifying themselves as a really, really solid Premier League team, especially now making 2 top half finishes in a row. I'm really interested to see if they can take that momentum, continue going. Can they finish in the European spots at least once? And more importantly, can they finally win an FA Cup? They've been so close. Can they do it? Oh, when we come back, we're going to go one more. We're going to do one more update. It's going to be the year 2070. Yeah, 2070. And we'll see how they've done. Hello, everybody, and Happy New Year. I have concluded my move, as you may have noticed from the excessive amounts of echoing in my house. I apologize for the current state of the audio, but probably before I upload any more videos, I'm going to have my acoustic foam. I have a lot of acoustic foam coming in the next few days, and then I'll be able to well and truly have my office set up the way that I would like it to be set up. But for today, unfortunately, we're gonna have to deal with this. It's not gonna get much better than this, so apologies to anybody who happens to come by my stream, but let's just get on to it. We're halfway through the video. It's been 3 days since I last recorded, because that's how long simming takes while you're moving, but we are in the year 2070. I've just finished the simulation, and I guess the real question is, how have they gotten on? I want to start with Celtic, because I feel like the story is going to be much more about Celtic than Rangers. Rangers have well and truly cemented themselves, last time we checked, as a championship side that's really probably not going to amount to too much more. But Celtic was on an upswing, and they've continued their upswing. Wow, they're rich once again. And, I mean, we started around here. I mean, this is where we left off, right? And they just continued to climb. 7th place, 9th place, 9th place, peaking at 6th and 58, and then all the way up in 4th a couple of times. So even getting an opportunity to play Champions League football, potentially, as long as the coefficient hasn't suffered too much. And now they're well and truly established as a Europa League team. They're 8th place finish there, not quite going to be cutting it as much as recent years, but 4 out of 5 of the last years finishing in the top 6. Really, really good progression here by Celtic. I mean, I guess let's just flip through. I guess we were, where were we? 45? And where we left off, I believe they made a lot of really deep runs in the FA Cup, and we just never quite saw them get there. So I'm wondering if Celtic's actually managed to make some silverware happen. We see another semi-final loss to Tottenham here. I mean, they are a pretty consistent FA Cup team by the looks of it. Another semi-final loss. This one to Fulham of all teams. That's pretty interesting. We'll have a little look at the rest of the Premier League just out of curiosity. So this was the first time back in Europe, and they did pretty well, all things considered. I mean, we see them into the quarterfinal of the Europa League too. So this is the Europa Conference League, the third one, the new one. But we see them into the semis of the Euro Conference League and into the finals of the FA Cup. So this looks like the year where, if they did it, it was probably going to be this year. We see them winning the semifinals, an opportunity for a cup double. They lose to Chelsea in the FA Cup final, but they win the Euro Cup 2 against Krasnodar. So Celtic winning European silverware. That's awesome. You love to see the progression. They've done so well for themselves. Europa League, they got to play in the groups here, did pretty well for themselves in the groups before losing to Milan. And I mean, overall though, I mean, we see Champions League football. They get into the Champions League here. The Benitez testimonial. Okay, it's the Lucas Benitez testimonial. I was wondering what Rafa Benitez had to do with this club, but well, I mean, we see Champions League football. That's a lot of money coming in, even though they didn't make it past the first knockout round. I mean, 2-3 on aggregate against Inter isn't bad either. I mean, Celtic are looking like a real good team. And we see another European final, this one in the Europa League, losing to Liverpool. So, I mean, still continuing to make progress, more and more progress. Unfortunately, I do think I'm done with this experiment after this sim. Another FA Cup final loss in the semi-final in the Europa League. Man, I kind of would love to see how Celtic would look another 50 years into the future, but I just don't want to spend that much time simming. The longer you sim, the longer it takes to sim, because there's more data to sort of parse through. So the longer these experiments go, it loads slower and slower and slower every iteration. So really cool to see how Celtic has progressed, though. They've done so well for themselves overall. Even winning European silverware, they still haven't won any domestic silverware. A couple of finals in the FA Cup, some deep runs in the Carabao Cup, and some good finishes in the league. Let's have a look at some of these league seasons, specifically the ones where they finished 4th. How far off the pace were Celtic? So we have 66 and 61. So this one, I mean, it's still a good 20 points off the pace. But still, I mean, like, putting up a fight. 61 was a little closer. Yeah, so 12 points off the pace isn't too bad, honestly. And when we see Fulham were champion. Wait, hold on, what? Oh my god. Fulham are really good. Holy shit. If you're a Fulham fan, that's something that... I think, didn't I initially put Fulham back in the championship at the start of this save? Look at them go. They've won 5 titles. Holy shit. Are they, like, the biggest club in the world, potentially? Like, have they won European tournaments? I'm sorry, this is not about Fulham, but I'm very, very curious. Runner-up in the Europa, or in the Champions League? Winners of the Champions League? Oh my god. They have a bigger reputation than Man U, I think. No, maybe not. I mean, there is a way to check. I don't remember exactly where it is, but... yeah, wild. That's pretty incredible. I just kind of want to flip through. I mean, we have Rangers to look at still. So before this goes on too long, I am rambling quite a bit. Rangers did make it back into the Prem one more time, but immediately getting relegated in last place. I mean, they really have become just a staple of the championship. They've done well enough to make it into the playoffs a few times, but never quite well enough to get promoted, not since 52. I mean, I guess we'll give them a really quick flip through their own cup competition, see if maybe they made something magical happen, but I am going to go out on a limb and say that if Celtic couldn't make it happen, I doubt that Rangers had that fairy tale, and it's not really looking like it, is it? I didn't... okay, they actually reached an FA Cup final. Wow, they beat Celtic and then lost to Fulham. Right before Fulham's dominance started. So, you know, I sold them a little bit short. Rangers, they had that one miracle run. They got to play in Wembley. But other than that, it's been slim pickings for them. They haven't even won a championship. When they get promoted, it's through the playoffs. Really, really sad to be a Rangers fan. But at the end of the day, I guess it could be worse. I am surprised that they're not even a yo-yo club. They're just... a championship side, and there's not really much to talk about, which is, you know, a little bit sad if you're a Rangers fan. I will, of course, be taking over Rangers in this database over on my stream save, and I think the database that I need for the really, really, really ambitious YouTube save that I wanted to do just came out. So I need to test to see if it works. It's going to involve some really niche mechanics with a specific club. To work the way that it intends, so I don't want to announce it yet, just in case it doesn't work. I'm not good enough with the editor to put it together myself, so I'm going to see if it works. I have a backup plan, but there will be YouTube FM content coming soon. Not super soon, because I would rather, for like the series that are going to ideally last the test of time, I would prefer for them to have better audio, so I'll wait for the audio foam to come in, the soundproofing foam. Other than this, I mean, there isn't really much else to look at. I'm going to look one more time at the Premier League because I want to see if there's any other wild champions. I mean, Chelsea have been extremely dominant. Oh my god. It's just been Fulham and Chelsea with one Man U. I guess like Man U a little bit, but they've fallen off. I mean, Chelsea is not a huge surprise. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of history, solid reputation, but... Fulham, big surprise to me. I mean, there's nothing else really crazy in here. It's really just Fulham that have risen to the top. It's a little bit surprising to me how dominant Chelsea is. Even at the beginning of the save, I mean, at the beginning of the save, Man City and Liverpool are supposed to be super broken. Chelsea won it in 2022 and then started the dominance pretty much right away. I mean, it is kind of surprising. I mean, we have Tottenham winning a couple times in there, Arsenal winning a little brief spell of dominance where Chelsea sort of fell off, but then Chelsea and Fulham all the way. It's been I'm not really seeing anything else too surprising here. No surprising runner-ups or anything like that. Not even surprising third places. A couple, I think I saw Newcastle in there once, but at the end of the day, Celtic wins. I mean, Celtic started off weak. They got relegated while Rangers survived. But over time, Celtic has been the club to really cement themselves as one of England's best football teams. So if you're a Celtic fan, you can rub this in your Rangers friends' faces all you like. This has been really fun for me. It's been a nice little experiment, little project, and I look forward to coming up with some other ideas. I have some cool ideas. I need to figure out exactly how to make them work in the editor, but it's going to be fun to sort of learn how to use the editor. I know this video is a lot longer than I really should have made it, but a lot to look through. I'll get better at sort of cutting down my rambling as we continue doing more experiment videos. But if you guys enjoyed the video, please drop a like, please subscribe if you're interested in what I think is going to be a very unique save coming up in the next couple of weeks. It's going to last us through the whole year, ideally, unless I get sacked. And it should be really, really fun. If you guys are interested in Football Manager content in the short term, I will start my stream save where I will be managing Rangers in the Premier League. Come on by, it's in the description. And I'm really looking forward to a year of hopefully good content. And it's a new year, it's new dreams, new memes. So happy new year to everybody, and I will see you guys next time.